Good day, ladies and gentlemen. What's happening? Welcome to the Good Brain Podcast. This is the 11th episode that we are bringing to you here. Whilst you are at it, please don't forget to hit the subscribe button. And straight after hitting the subscribe button, please smash the bell icon. As you guys all know, alright, we always start our analysis on the monthly time frame, right, by simply marking our absolute highs and our absolute lows. Right, I do always state and remind you guys that these levels may not be relevant to price action now, right, because I doubt we're just gonna get a monthly candle that's going to get up like that, right? But this is just for reference purposes, right, so that we try and figure out if we are in equilibrium or if we are trading in discount or within premium pricing regions, right? If you don't know what that is, I will explain in due time, right? So what I've done here is that I've marked my absolute high, I've marked my absolute low, and what I try to do here is try and figure out where a midpoint would be, right? If I wanted an exact midpoint, right, I would use my Fibonacci tool and look for the 0.5 level. Right, so there's our 0.5 level, right? So clearly we can see that on the monthly time frame, right, there was a structural break, right, in this region, right, and we never really came back to run these stops before trading lower, right? So I think it's definitely something that we may expect in the future, right? But you need to remember one thing, right? The markets are really driven by fundamentals, right? So just make sure that you are well acquainted with the macroeconomic landscape of China, all right? So right now we have the OPEC plus cutting its oil supply, right, by I think more than 1 million barrels every month, right? Obviously because the Japanese economy is one that is extremely reliant on oil, right? This is really going to affect them, right? So the BOJ has to figure out how it is going to deal with certain things. Right, so that would be my midpoint, right? And if we were to identify the trend, we can say that we have been forming so this was a high, right? We did trade above this high, but we failed to close, right? So I'd say this is an equal high, lower high, lower high, and potentially a lower high. Okay. So then on the monthly time frame, if we are bearish, if we are bullish, sorry, right, I do expect price to tap into that area before we can even make our way to the upside, right? This level here to the left will also give me quite a bit of comfort, right, because there is quite a bit of support there, right? And then if we look at the monthly time frame, right, let's look at the previous monthly candle, right? We can classify it as weak bullish. Why weak bullish? Because we can see the size of the wick, right? We can see that there was a lot of bullish pressure here, right? But there were enough bears, I feel, right, to push us lower, which may be a key indication that the bulls may be losing steam. Okay, so that's it on our monthly. Then now, when we get to our monthly time frame, we can see, right, it is confirmed that this is indeed a significant or important area of price action. Right? Why? Because it resulted in a structural break. Right? Before price traded down to these levels, right, we had no price really trading in these levels, even if we go all the way back in price. Right? So this was the most significant low that was broken. Right? So this, I say, is our most recent significant lower high. Right? Because it resulted in a structural break. And this is our absolute low, right? So I would say that the JPY basket, right, is actually bearish anywhere within these two levels. Okay. Right, so obviously key area for me. Okay, and then I will just mark that area. Right. This for me is a key structural level, right? Because this bearish order block here has been keeping price bearish for the longest time, right? So if we were to switch bullish, right, I would expect us to maybe have a close above there, some form of retest before actually coming into this region here, right? If we do look at the weekly, right, in more detail, we can see that we've been forming, or we have formed a low. We have formed here what seems like a higher low, right? This is not really a strong higher low for me, right? Simply because we failed to break that structural level, right? And usually if we are failing to make higher highs and higher lows, then the likelihood is that we are not bearish. We are not bullish, so rather. All right. So this to me structurally means that as long as we're here, we are bearish on the JPY basket, then this is an equal higher low. This is also equal high, right? Given that our previous weekly candle, strong bearish, right? Our weekly strong bearish right after an indecisive candle formed. Okay, and so for me, that is a very key level in price action. Let me just get my magnet, right? So that the platform actually helps me get my raise directly on the end of the wicks. Right? That's what the magnet tool does. See that? Alright, why is this area very important to me? Right? Because if we are to continue lower, right, then this would have been the bearish order block that started the move. Right? I hope you guys get that because I want to. Okay. Right, clearly here without looking too deep into things. Right? We had some form of structure break, right? So we had a break, a retracement, a retest, before trading higher. Okay, so what I'm trying to establish here, okay, is where is the most recent significant higher low on the daily time frame, right? I believe that it's this one here. Okay, so that would be my first long-term target. Right? Then I also see that as a key level. Right. Okay, guys. So essentially, okay, I'm expecting the JPY basket to keep dropping. Okay. However, I'm not sure to what extent we will drop. But what I do know is that fundamentally we are bearish currently. All right. What I would look for, right, is a first target here. Okay. Try and establish what price really wants to do after here. Right. If we get a break, retest, and move lower, then that is it. Right, until we get to my ultimate daily target of 7695. Right, now once we get to 7695, things get a bit interesting. As you guys know, again, if you have been consuming my content for a while, that after having this break into this region and a retest, we are now in something called a low traffic area, which I also call an LTA short. Okay, this is this whole region for me, right, which would essentially mean that our GBPJPY would form bullish institutional order flow, right? Once we get in this region, right? So we are trying to get to this region where now we will really, really be comfortable in shorting the yen and longing the GBP against the JPY. Okay, if we go to 4 hour time frame. Okay, so there we seem to have had some form of bearish breaker. Right, so what I would be looking for is maybe a close in this region before we get our bearish institutional order flow. Alright, I do suggest that everybody waits for confirmation because fundamentally there is a lot going on, right? As we do know, as I did mention earlier on, right, we have had an oil cap from the OPEC Plus, which does have drastic implications for the Japanese economy because this is an oil dependent economy, right? Japan has now said that they are actually going to be sourcing their oil from Russia, right? What that does to the yen, we don't immediately know, right? So as retail traders, because we don't have that much power, right? Because we don't swing the marketplace, right? I suggest you wait for a confirmation. So let's go. Okay, so you guys get the idea. Okay. I am just looking for the profit target tool. Price range rather, right? So this is what I'm expecting on the yen. Alright, but given that we break and close below this gray level. So let's watch. And just a nugget, okay? This was a significant bearish order block. Right? So I recognize this level here that I marked, right, as a key structural level, right? Because it is what resulted in the formation of these new highs and these new higher lows, right? This level here, right, that you can see kept price bearish for a while. Okay, so now looking at our 4-hour, right, I think it's safe to say that we are bearish on the 4-hour, right? But we are not very sure yet because we haven't broken this key structural level here, right? What we want to see is a close, a retest of some sort on our smaller time frames, right before heading to 7677. Okay, so for now, right, I would say our 4-hour time frame is bullish between here and here, right? I believe to be truly bearish on our 4-hour, we need to close below this region. And finally, redistribute lower. Okay, so let us update. Daily, I forgot to just 4-hour. We said we are bullish. Okay, and so essentially, guys, we do this to develop a bias. Okay, so yesterday's candlestick again is a weak bullish candlestick. So we can conclude that this is a 2v2 bias. Geez, if you actually look at this in more detail, right? So we may actually need a break and close below this level, right? And not necessarily in between here. Okay, but it's about observation and timing, right? So you guys know the two possible outcomes that we are expecting. So now let's go to the JPY, to the GBPJPYs. Okay, so now for GJ, okay, I had already done my breakdown. And so I am not going to go into depth. Okay, I think actually I will attach the clip that I did for GBPJPY. All right, but essentially I was saying that I am bullish, okay, on the GBP against the Japanese yen, right? But I am uncomfortable trading below this 165.468 level, right? What I do want to see is a break and close above this level there, and then some form of retest on our smaller time frames before we can actually distribute higher to our 168 levels. Okay, so our monthly was weak bullish. That's not how you spell weak, but okay. Strong bullish. Daily was weak bearish. All right. So this was on Sunday. Okay. So the daily again was even weaker bearish. Okay. So that's our GBPJPY move. Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen, for tuning in. I hope the okay, and here we go. Here is my GBPJPY. All right, the story is I had actually already recorded this only to have some audio issues, right? And therefore I do feel that I should just force it and show you guys this clip, because it will be the most accurate depiction of my breakdown, right? If I am to recording you on today, it just won't look as nice. It just won't look as goated, because obviously it has made significant progress, right? Whether it is in my favor or the market's favor, we have no idea. You can only be the judge, right? So looking at our monthly time frame, we can see that generally, right, historically, right, really long term, we are bearish, right? But using current structure, we are bullish, right? Especially because of this level that I just highlighted for you guys, right? Okay, it is important to note that we seem to be accumulating around that price point. As you guys know, we always do this, right? So that we can just always refer back to the trend on a Thursday. You know, when we've only done the breakdown on a Monday, what I do always say is that this is very relevant, because it is impossible for us to have a monthly candle that stretches across the whole screen, because that is not normal. Or a weekly time frame with a huge bearish candle or a huge bullish candle. It is highly unlikely, right? So it is unlikely that we have trend switches on these major time frames, right? So this information remains quite relevant for a while, right? And then that is just us marking our previous monthly high, right? So that we can form our trade idea around the monthly high. Now to perfect it, okay, and all I can say to you guys is enjoy the rest of the video. Thank you so much for tuning into the Good Brain podcast by Seed Capital Incorporated, Botswana. We do appreciate it, and if you haven't already, please don't forget to click the subscribe button. Straight after that, don't forget to click the bell notification icon, so that you get real-time updates, right? Because usually the content that we put out is relevant for that particular day, or the day, what does English say, or the day after, right? So it's relevant content as long as you watch it on time. Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen.